And let me also open it to Mark chapter 10. Right. Now, in verse 13, some people brought children to Jesus for him to place his hands on them, but the disciples scolded the people. Now, there are important things that we need to know about children. And whenever we see some people doing or saying something contrary to what you believe that it is the right thing, then you should know that it's child abuse. Right now, we understand that there is child mutilation out there running right now. And if you attempt to correct it, if you attempt to tell them that this thing is wrong, you will be scolded. You might be called a racist, you might be called a bigot, a lot of words that will be thrown around. And this is a classic example of what happened. They are supposed to stop all these wrong things and wait for even when the children gets to 18 to make a decision, but instead they want to have their way. And it is important that we should always pray for our children. We should always place our hands over them. We should always encourage them. I can quickly do a little bit of start, and I can see that we have about 70% of the adults here already have children. And we already know this important fact. But remember what I said earlier, repetition is the mother of skill. Now, let's see our memory verse. And I can assure you that, just bear with me a bit, it will be very interactive because I'll bounce off a couple of questions from you. And also, I'll lay some important groundwork. So let's talk about our memory verse, Matthew chapter 18, verse 6. 18, verse 6, Matthew 18, verse 6. It says, "But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone was in the depth of the sea." It is very important there that whoso shall offend one of these little ones who believe in me. And that's one of the, when children are in God's house, especially when you see that these children are already in line with the plan of God for their life, it is very important to try to guide them in the right direction. Right, I was doing a little bit of research and I discovered that in UK we have about 12.7 million children. 12.7 million children. And 500K per year reports to the government that there is child abuse going on in their family. 500K. And that's just about roughly 4% of the total number of children in UK. Now, there are some things that the intention, when they started this reporting child abuses and all, they started on a noted point that you need to guide your children and not to necessarily offend them. And I know it's a very tricky word, offend children, but they started on a very good note. But I can tell you that over time, it's gotten to a point that you cannot scold your child anymore. It has gotten to a point that, they've also abused the law that they've already set out to implement. They've abused the law that they've sent out to implement, that you cannot correct your child. Once you correct your child, and somebody who hates you pick up the phone and call, but it will be very difficult for you to make a case. And these are facts that I know from people who have experienced this firsthand. That it's very difficult for you to make a case. And there was a recording I saw when the lady, also a black, was trying to explain, and it was falling on deaf ears. Now, here, it says that whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for a millstone to be placed. It is wrong to offend our children, but it's not wrong to guide them. It's not wrong to instruct them in the right direction. And we as parents, we need to understand this, because